This video is gonna be kind of hard to come up with. It's gonna be a fierce battle between books.
What are you waiting for? Power up!
To only come up with 10 out of all the books in the history of the world. The 10 best. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm gonna give you guys my best effort. What's up guys, Ryan Pineda here. So in this video, I'm gonna give you my top 10. I was gonna do a top 10 with my hands, but that's kind of weird. Give me a graphic. My top 10 books for entrepreneurs. To give you some context, I usually read about 30 to 40 books a year. Narrowing it down to 10 is very difficult, so whatever I end up missing, make sure you comment below. I'm sure there's a ton of great books, but I only have room for 10. Aww. Pretty much anything to do with entrepreneurship, I've attempted it and either succeeded or failed in it. But these 10 books have helped me out along the way. So enough chit chat, let's get into the top 10. All right, book number 1, The Millionaire Next Door. I absolutely love this book. The whole premise is that millionaires aren't the ones who look like millionaires. The guy you see driving around with the fancy car and the big house and the nice job is typically not the millionaire. When your lifestyle is flashy and you spend a lot of money to have all these nice things, it makes it very difficult to accumulate wealth. The people who are actually creating wealth are the ones who are saving money. And I've seen that in my own life and in other people's lives. I know people that they'll flip their first house, make 20 grand and immediately go buy something crazy. When I was building my businesses and building my wealth and trying to buy rental properties and other things, I wasn't spending money on any type of extravagant things. I wasn't buying nice cars, I wasn't buying Rolexes, I wasn't buying any of these things that you would associate with wealth. And a lot of it is because of that book, The Millionaire Next Door. Most millionaires are created over a long period of time, and they're people with normal jobs who just had very good spending habits. The other type of people who are living the flashy lives are the ones who are living in the rat race. They're living paycheck to paycheck. As hard as it is to believe, you can live paycheck to paycheck even if you're making a ton of money. People who generate wealth are able to keep the money that they make. So I definitely recommend checking out The Millionaire Next Door. Book number 2, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a classic book for real estate investors. This is my first experience on learning about rental properties. Robert Kiyosaki, I don't know if you want to call him the godfather of real estate or the godfather of cash flow, but he has made a tremendous impact on almost every single real estate investor I know. This book teaches you that not all debt is bad. When you're able to put debt on something that actually makes you money, it's a good thing. And most millionaires are made through real estate investing. It also goes over how the old way of thinking doesn't work. Go to school, get a degree, get a nice safe job. There's much quicker ways and easier ways to generate wealth. So check out Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Book number 3 is Atomic Habits. I recently read this book this year and I was blown away that it took me so long to read it. I had so many people recommend it over the years and I just never read it. The big thing with Atomic Habits is understanding how habits are formed, what you're in control of. The biggest takeaway for me was how your surroundings impact your habits so much. When you think about your diet, right? If you don't have ice cream and bad things at the house, it makes it more difficult to break diet. You got to actually go outside the house and get the ice cream. But when the ice cream's in the house, you're more likely to eat that. And why is that? Because it's your surroundings. So if you want to change your habits, one big takeaway that I got from the book is change your surroundings. Get rid of the things that are causing you to stumble. Put things around you that'll help you develop the habits you want. If you have distractions in your house, such as video games, and they're taken away from time that you could be spending on self-development, get rid of the gaming system. There's a lot of things in your surroundings that are impacting your habits. That was probably the biggest thing I learned in that book. Book number 4 is Traction. Traction is a book that I actually read the first time and didn't understand it. In my mind, I thought, we don't have to do any of this stuff.
My business is so good. I don't need to track what I'm doing. I don't need to keep people accountable. I don't need to have these roles.
It wasn't until I had some of my first failures in business that I realized that I needed traction and I needed structure. I needed accountability. So I ended up hiring a traction coach, and that was one of the smartest decisions I ever made. Hiring the coach transformed my business and made us so much more money than it cost. So it was a great return on investment. Really, the book to me is about keeping everyone accountable and having the right person in the right seat. So definitely go check out Traction. Before we get into the next book, I'd really appreciate it if you go and like this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm so that more people can see it. So if you're getting value, make sure you hit that like button. Book number 5 is The Miracle Morning. I read this book about 4 or 5 years ago. It completely transformed my mornings. In this book, Hal talks about different practices that he uses every single morning. He does this routine for an hour every single day, and there's 6 different practices that he does. Now, you don't have to take all 6. Just to name a couple, he talks about reading, exercising, meditation, journaling. He talks about these 6 different disciplines / routines that he does every single morning. He spends 10 minutes on each one. And I don't do all of those things in the morning. I've got my own twist on it, but just getting into the morning routine has completely changed me. And I tell people all the time, a big reason for my success is due to getting in a morning routine and sticking with it. I've been practicing my own variation of my morning routine for the last 4 or 5 years. So my morning routine is a little different than Hal's because I like to just work out for an hour every day. In addition to working out, every single morning I read my Bible, pray, I memorize scripture, I journal, I visualize my goals. It's served me well. Now, whether you're faith-based or not, it doesn't really matter. You can still apply those principles to your life. And I promise, if you start having a morning routine with purpose, your life is going to be completely different. Book number 6 is Who Moved My Cheese? This book is a super easy read. It's like 30 minutes long. And the whole premise is about adapting. And we know that in business, you have to constantly be adapting or you're going to get passed. It puts it into a fun little story that you get stuck in your old ways. The cheese, the thing that is giving you, the cheese could be anything, whether it's giving you money or fulfillment, providing for your family, that cheese is going to be gone at some point. Nothing ever stays the same. Things are always changing. And that's why I love this book. It really illustrates that point in a cool little story. Okay, book number 7. This one's gonna come with some controversy, but I'm gonna throw it in here anyway. It is my book, Flip Your Future. I know you guys are probably thinking, did this guy just really throw his own book in his top 10? Well, yeah, I'm proud of it. And I know it's changed a lot of lives. For those of you who don't know me, it's a book I wrote back in 2018 about flipping houses. Regardless of if you've ever bought real estate or not, this is going to teach you how to evaluate deals, how to raise money, handle construction, all aspects of buying a home. And then, of course, making a profit selling it. So yeah, I don't feel bad about putting my own book in my top 10. Anyways, book number 8 is Good to Great. Now, I haven't read this book in a while, so my memory's kind of fuzzy on it. But the big takeaway from this book is that there are companies that are either good or great. What separates the great ones from the good ones? Why has Coca-Cola been able to last so much longer than these other companies? And Jim Collins goes into it. He talks about why some companies are able to withstand the test of time. Was Apple a great company because of just Steve Jobs? Well, yeah, today they are a great company, but when he left the first time, they weren't. So something changed in between them. And that book does a great job evaluating what separates good from great. Book number 9 is Think and Grow Rich. This is a book I read a couple of years ago and I couldn't even finish it. Just for whatever reason, it wasn't resonating with me, and sometimes books are like that. But anyways, this book, Think and Grow Rich, it was a very good book. Second time around when I actually read it on my Kindle, I understood a lot of the points. The big thing I took away from it was the power of the mastermind. Getting around other high-level people who are in your field. There is no bigger principle that will propel your business than collaborating and masterminding with other people. A lot of people like to talk about competition and they don't want to give away trade secrets, but what Napoleon Hill found was Andrew Carnegie and all these other big guys were always talking and collaborating, and that's why they were able to build what they built. And I know in my business today, I've learned so much more from other people who are my competitors in my industry or maybe in another market, and they've taught me the secrets that I didn't know. And had I been trying to do this by myself, I wouldn't be nearly as far as where I am today. So the power of the mastermind and collaborating is huge. That's one of the big points of the book. All right, for our final book, book number 10, it is The Road Less Stupid. Now this is a funny title, right? The main takeaway I had from it was that you need to avoid doing stupid things.
Duh.
Yeah, but it's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
Think about this. You could do everything right for years, but one stupid mistake can cripple you. When you think about it just in normal everyday life, you could have been the best person ever and living this great life, but then you go and murder someone and you're done. One mistake. So the goal is to quit doing stupid things. The author looked at it and he said that it's not all the great things that we do that push us forward as businesses and entrepreneurs. It's actually the things that we avoid doing that really put us in prime position. So those are my top 10. I know that there's a ton of other great books out there, but I can only limit it to 10. And to be honest, those were just the first 10 that I thought of off the top of my head. I figured if I had to think really long and hard about it, that they probably weren't that meaningful to me in the first place. What I want you guys to do is comment below which of those books you've read, which was your favorite. I want you to comment the ones that I missed. What are some great books? I'm always looking for more books to read. So I want to hear hear your top 10. Make sure you smash that like button if you got value out of this video. You can also subscribe if you want to see daily interaction of what I've got going on in my businesses. Make sure you go follow me on my other social media platforms. Maybe I'll update this list yearly as I read more books that have an impact on my business and my life. I hope this video brought you guys value. Happy reading.